So work has been super crazy busy, and what a blessing that this weekend we're headed out for some fun. We are going to first head to Denver and then to Oklahoma for the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. So come along as we go this weekend. We are in Denver. We landed earlier today and actually headed straight up to Boulder. Overall, this weekend, we planned it several months ago, and it was really a weekend for us to go to the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. We have friends in Oklahoma, and they went to Oklahoma, and I went to Tennessee for those that don't know. And actually, it's because I went to the University of Tennessee, which is in East Tennessee. It's in Knoxville. It's because of the University of Tennessee that I ended up being introduced to Nashville and absolutely fell in love with it. And so the original plan for this weekend was for us to go straight to Oklahoma City and go enjoy the football game. However, our friends' plans actually changed a little bit. And so we decided to make the most of it because they weren't going to be back in town until late Friday. So we just decided, since we were already planning to leave Thursday, we decided, why don't we make the best of it? And we started looking for another destination. One of the reasons why I absolutely love Nashville, especially the Nashville airport now, is because of the growth that we've seen. The number of direct flights that we have has only continued to grow. And so when we were trying to see if there was anything else that we could do to fill Thursday before heading to Oklahoma, we started looking at, well, where does Southwest fly direct, since that's the airline that we were already going to take to Oklahoma City. So Southwest has so many direct flights from Nashville. In fact, one of the reasons why people continue to move to Nashville, it's because of its central location and the number of direct flights that we have. In fact, my family has lived in Richmond for pretty much my entire life, and whenever I've looked at flying out of there, say to get back to Nashville or to go somewhere else, the number of direct flights is so limited, and it just makes me that much more thankful of what Nashville actually has to offer in terms of direct flights. So we first had to look at, where does Nashville go that flies direct, but then that city also flies direct into Oklahoma City, just to make it as easy as possible when it comes to travel. So we decided on Denver because it's only about a 2.5-hour flight from Nashville, so easy to get to. And then today we decided, when we landed, we got a rental car, and we actually headed straight to Boulder because we wanted to see the mountains, and Boulder had been recommended to us just for the charm of the city. Plus, we have seen Colorado football games and you can see the beautiful scenery. So we just decided to go and explore there. We walked up and down Pearl Street, and we actually did drive up into the mountains, and we saw some absolutely breathtaking views. Now, here's the thing. You can take less than a 3-hour flight to Denver and then another 40-minute drive into Boulder, and you've got the mountains. You're in the mountains. Whereas in Nashville, a 3.5-hour drive will actually get you to the Smoky Mountains. Now, after seeing, this was my first time seeing the Rocky Mountains in person, I can tell you, they are much more grand than the Smoky Mountains, but still, at least with Nashville, you do have the ability to get a little bit of your mountain fix in Gatlinburg, or you can jump on a quick flight to Denver and be here amongst the mountains in a relatively short amount of time. So we are staying at the Crawford Hotel. This is actually in an old train station, so it's got a lot of charm. I'm going to show you around. We're going to go and enjoy a really nice dinner, and then tomorrow we are headed to Oklahoma City to then go to the Tennessee-Oklahoma game on Saturday, which I am super excited about. So come with us as we enjoy this entire weekend. And then the bonus, the cherry on top of this entire weekend, is we're actually flying from Oklahoma back to Nashville on Sunday and driving straight to Knoxville because country artist Morgan Wallen is going to be performing at Neyland Stadium, which is Tennessee's football stadium. This is his first time ever getting to perform there. It's actually been a long time since an artist has performed in Neyland, and so I get to go back to my old stomping grounds, get to see one of my favorite artists, and we are just really excited about it. So come with us as we continue through our big weekend. So last night we actually ended up going to Garden Grace, which is a fantastic steakhouse in downtown Denver. It actually made a list of like top 50 places to get a steak, I think, within the world. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you actually know my husband and I, we enjoy trying new steak places, and I actually have a video on some of the best steakhouses in Nashville. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go check out the video. I'll link it up here. But we went and had a fantastic meal. Everything was really, really good. And then this morning we headed out and we have actually flown now. We are in Oklahoma City. I am so excited. I am so excited for the game tomorrow. There was a lot of Tennessee orange in the airport, on the plane. So just a lot of excitement, which is new. In the last like 18 plus years that I've been a Vol, there's not been as much excitement about a team as we seem to have this year. I obviously have no idea how the game's actually going to turn out. Hopefully we'll win, but here in the South, Oklahoma is now a part of the SEC. So I'm just really excited to get to go and experience a Tennessee game, an away game, and just hopefully for Tennessee it's a good outcome. But we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited. We are gonna head out for dinner tonight, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be almost 100 degrees. Thank goodness it's a night game, but I'm really excited to bring you along and just show you what an SEC football game really looks like in the South. Okay, it is game day. We are getting ready to head to Norman. I'm really excited just to experience this away game. I've got my orange and white on, so let's go. So it was a great game. I honestly forgot to take a lot of video yesterday from the sole purpose of it was so unbelievably hot. Like, it felt like we were sitting on the surface of the sun. We got there several hours before the game started. We hit a couple of tailgate spots, had to go to a house with air conditioning because it was just unbearable. And of course, like today in Oklahoma, it's like in the 70s and perfect football weather. But yesterday it was so hot and I was just trying honestly not to die of heat stroke. But the game was really fun. We were sitting in the Oklahoma section, of course, because we were with our friends from Oklahoma, but really excited that Tennessee was able to pull out the win. And for the most part, the Oklahoma fans were really welcoming, which was awesome. But yeah, it was so great to just get to go and experience the game. You know, with traffic, of course, got back late last night to our friend's house, and then we took off this morning out of Oklahoma. We're already back in Nashville, and now we're on the last leg of our big all weekend trip. We are headed to Knoxville to see Morgan Wallen play at Neyland Stadium. So we are going to go see the show, and I'm really excited. Okay, y'all. So my husband and I are back from going to the Morgan Wallen concert and our big weekend getaway. Morgan Wallen was fantastic. We did see him at Neyland Stadium in Nashville back in May, and it was a fantastic show. Loved it, had a great time. In fact, I told my husband afterwards, because we actually tried to see him for 2 years, and because of like different cancellations and whatnot. You know, Morgan Wallen, if you don't know, so when he does his shows, he always does like these walkouts where the camera follows him, and he typically has some, you know, well-known folks with him for his walkout, like as the music's playing before he comes on stage. And so the thing that I kept saying leading up to the show, I was like, he has to have Peyton Manning. Like, if you're thinking about playing in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, who better than Peyton Manning? Like, he's pretty much the most iconic face of Tennessee football. And so I was like, it has to be Peyton Manning. And then being that this was the Sunday right after Tennessee beat Oklahoma, in the football game at Oklahoma, I was like, it could be pretty fitting that the head football coach, Josh Heupel, would be out there. And then I was like, maybe even Nico, who's the quarterback. And so that was who we were thinking it could be. Sure enough, the first shot was Peyton Manning in the locker room in his old Tennessee gear, like with the number 16. And so super pumped that Peyton was there. And then he did have Heupel, Nico, and then he had Brew McCoy, which is another big star Tennessee football player. And so they did the walkout. The show was fantastic. He played for a little over 2 hours, just energy galore. Of course, there was certainly some special guests. For our night, he ended up bringing out Miranda Lambert, and then he also brought out Darius Rucker, who sang Wagon Wheel. Apparently on Friday's show, he had brought out Eric Church, and so, he had some of these other big name artists come out with him. Of course, they had to play Rocky Top at some point, and being that it was in Neyland Stadium, so many folks were still in their Tennessee gear. I know I was rocking my orange and white, and it was just a really, really fun show. And that's the thing, it's like, even though it was in Knoxville, it was still awesome to see some of those other big name artists come out. That's one of the special things about Nashville, is when you go and see country artists play, because this is where they live, a lot of times they can bring out surprise guests, big name other artists that they're friends with, just because it's easy, they're already home, they're in town. With Nashville, it's kind of like you get one or the other, right? You get the big shows with surprise big name artists, but then at the same time, sometimes if you look at their tour schedule, Nashville's not even on the list of having a show. You kind of get both sides of that coin sometimes, and part of that can be, there's a lot of politics. Like back when I was in the music industry before getting into real estate, I didn't learn the full ins and outs of the politics of it, but sometimes like it's just too much of like a home show for them to play. But I do love it when artists include Nashville on their tours, because that's when you get those bigger name artists that'll bring out their friends. And it's just not something that you really get to experience in other cities. But we had an absolutely fantastic time, made the 2.5-3 hour drive home to Nashville, and just overall had a fantastic weekend. So thank you guys for coming along with me on this fun trip. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of a perspective of just kind of what living in Nashville, like the fun opportunities that it has to offer. If you are thinking about making a move, or if you've got any questions, all of my contact information is below. I'll see you guys next time.